So this tip is not going to be about breaking the bank or buying meta players because obviously that's one way to deal with bad gameplay. You buy the players with good dribbling, short players, yada yada yada. You get the drill. This isn't about that. This is about like a trick that anyone can do regardless of the player you have. So it's one of the big things about bad gameplay is the first touch. Sometimes it just goes away from you, especially in the box. Uh, you just want the player to take a control touch and he just doesn't. So I stumbled upon this trick by accident, but I thought I should share with whoever needs it. Pretty much, so with bad gameplay, the first touch is very important. You don't want it to be too heavy, right? And the only way I've seen so far that you can actually control it consistently is by holding pace control, shield, protectable, whatever you call it. So I think for most people it's L2. I use custom controls, but I'm just going to show what most people use. So L2, and then tap and sprint just before the ball gets to your player. Like, so that kind of like, this is the first touch, pretty much the sprint. You tap it once. And what this does is that it prevents the ball from bouncing or just leaving your player. And you have to time it right, obviously, because if you don't time it right, what happens is the player actually like, what do I call it, like shields the ball, and sometimes like shields the ball and kind of ignores it in a way. It's a weird thing, especially when you're playing against people who spam tackling. But if you time it right, like it's very easy. It's not like a hard. It's not like time finishing where it's like you have to master it. It's very easy to time it right. So you hold pace control and you just tap sprint as soon as the ball gets to you, and he just kind of deads the ball there. And what you can do also, another benefit of this trick is people who spam tackles from behind. If you tap sprint again, just in anticipation of the tackle, they literally just fall over you. Your player becomes like a wall for some reason. So there must be something in the code that just doesn't recognize this move, and it just kind of makes your player like a pillar. And the only way you can lose the ball in that particular scenario of the first touch is by someone fouling you. Because obviously, if it's a hard tackle, you're going to go down. There's nothing you can do. But you're not going to be able to knock off the ball. You can actually stand in place, hold space control, and tap sprint continuously. And the player, whoever it is trying to like attack you, is just going to feel like a force field, and it's just gonna go around you. It's so weird, but the thing is, you can't just spam it because after a while, like it's hard to like transition back to analog dribbling after it. So I'll just advise you just to tap sprint, like hold pace control, tap it once when you get the ball, maybe again if you feel like pressure. And then when you have some space, get your hands off and go back to maybe continuing the play or whatever it is you wanted to do in the first place. Um, Another thing I learned also in bad gameplay is like tackling is not as effective. Well, tackling is not effective in general in FIFA 20, but this trick also helps with that. So, say for example, you're about to tackle Griezmann, right? Because Griezmann has one of those traits where you just can get the ball off of him. I don't know why, but he always stumbles back. So I think what people do is like after the tackle, they tap pace control once, and then that kind of makes the player stumble towards the ball. And it's broken. I don't know why EA put that in the game. It makes no sense, but I guess it's to reinforce the whole pay to win concept. But I digress. So what I found with those people is obviously hard tackles work too, but those are very risky. You could easily like commit a foul. What I do is if I get close enough and anticipate like, okay, they're gonna make a turn here or whatever it is, instead of tapping tackle, I hold pace control because obviously your hand should be in jockey almost all the time if you're defending anyways. This game is literally about one button, like jockeying and 50-50s. That's just all this game is about. So if you don't know that, now you know. So hold jockey or pace control, whatever you want to call it, and then just tap sprint at the right moment. And sometimes your player actually just pushes into them. You could tap it repeatedly, and for some reason they don't give fouls as much when you do that. You could also hold sprint towards them, so it's almost as if you're running towards them while your hand is on pace control, and that reinforces the strength also. Um, you find like players or these pro players like carry like Ronaldinho or these guys, and it's like you whatever you do, you just can take it as shield and it's just overpowered. This evens that playing field. If you can also mix it up with actual tackles. I can play a whole game without even tapping a circle for tackling. I don't know. Like I have custom controls, but I think most people use circle to push and pull. But you can play a whole game. I can play a whole game without using that, and I can literally just use sprint and just run into you all the time. That's how most people do it. They just kind of barge into you. It's annoying, but if you can't beat them, join them, right? So you hold pace control and you sprint into them. It's hard to explain, but just know it's these two buttons right here, and it all starts with holding the pace control button down and then manipulating everything else based on the situation. So some situations may require you to hold the sprint for a bit, release it, hold it again, or tap it once, stuff like that for tackling. But for the first touch, which I feel is most important in bad gameplay, is just simply hold pace control as the ball's coming in, tap sprint once to kill it, and if the person is still trying to disturb you and you don't have enough space to turn, tap it again or even hold it down, and for some reason they just can't get it off of you. I hope that helped. So ask me any questions you want in the comment section below. Leave a like if this helped you in any way. Subscribe as well. But I'm going to make more videos like this in the future. But for now, I would say this is my one hack, because I did this like a while back for my old subscribers. I did this a while back for one of the FIFA games where I just show you like a hack I find. I think the next one I'm going to talk about is about load driven. There'll be another video for that, like how to consistently score those. But yeah, this is one of the tricks I found. Play around with it a little bit. It's just even if this doesn't make sense to you, just know holding pace control and tapping sprint occasionally does something. Just take that. That's the take home message here. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and yeah, see you next time.